Let's bring on Adam. Adam, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing too bad, lads. How are you?
Yeah, not well.
We should have gone 3-5-2, I think.
Okay, hold on. Thank you for saying it was 3-5-1-2, because the other day someone said it was. I said go for a 5 at the back with Brian Hill playing left wing back. I'm like, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that. I
said on the left.
I thought you actually said that as well, to be honest.
No, not at all. I was saying a few different people in the chat completely misquoting me. I was like, were people not listening? No, I genuinely like. I feel like people kind of thought that I was being incredibly negative during the last chat, and I wasn't. I was just kind of explaining what I thought would be a bit of a better strategy. And this time around, I feel like what I was saying probably would have worked out a little bit better again. But I do also think that it's clear that we're not prioritizing this competition. And I just like coming from a much more optimistic point of view, hopefully. I think the main thing is that just because we saw a negative game tonight with our second team playing, I still think that we should be very optimistic we can beat West Ham on Sunday. It's possible with the first team. We can.
But Adam, are you disappointed tonight in terms of, the players who are clearly second choice? That's why they've been picked tonight. They're in the second Europa Conference League team, and they've got an opportunity tonight to show the manager maybe that they want to be part of that first team that was left home. Maybe they want to be part of the team left home next time, and they didn't take the opportunity at all. On the opposite, they probably did their chances harm. Like, are you disappointed in that sense, or do you feel like the team was just so disjointed it was hard to get a performance out of these players?
I think that it's partly coming down to the fact that they don't get much time playing together. I mean, that second team hasn't, in that, that particular 11 aren't getting as much time together as the first team are. But that being said, I wouldn't excuse that performance either based on that. I think Bergwijn is still letting us down in the final third. I think again, if we were to play in the position in the formation that I'm suggesting, he'd be the one carrying the ball forward, and we wouldn't be relying on him for goals, which is kind of at the moment where he's playing. You would think that he'd be kind of doing what Sonny's doing in the first team and kind of cut in and put one away, but he's just not doing it in the final third. I think that what you guys were saying is absolutely right. Relying on Dane Scarlett to do anything when he's a 17-year-old kid and with that much pressure on him is not fair. And I do think some of the players are playing out of position. I think Dele Alli should be playing as the striker or in a 2 with Dane. And then I think that Lo Celso, someone else said this as well, should be playing in the 10, which didn't happen. So I can't. I would say Nuno is still getting to grips with the team, and I think if he realized those things, it would help. But I mean, some of those performances, like Dele Alli especially, I would literally only give him another chance if we were going to stick him up front. The guy is just constantly losing the ball, doesn't seem to really want to put the effort in the way that he should. We know that he's able to score. Just stick him up front in those games. That's for me. It doesn't make any sense to have him there. Lo Celso could have been feeding him from the 10. So, I wouldn't be pessimistic about the squad as a whole. All it's really saying to me is there is still deadwood, and the main thing is we are still rebuilding. So many people are saying, "Oh, the rebuild is nonsense. We've tried this before." Blah 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 blah. I trust Paratici, to be honest. They didn't have the money to get the signings that we would have liked during the summer. But I think Levy came out recently and said that the club is kind of financially stable now. He might be shooting himself in the foot by saying that, but we're going to expect better signings either in January or next summer. The rebuild is still happening. And I do trust the first team. But I think that we can improve.
You say you trust this first team, but the second team let us down time and time again with these personnel on the pitch today. So with knowing that, surely do you not think that Nuno should have taken some of the first team players at least on the bench today?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, again, if with my manager's hat on, I would have had to, either Højbjerg or Skip would have been in my first team, in my team for this game, trying to marshal everyone. And I just don't like. You would never see me playing Winks. Winks should have been gone in the summer. I really, really hope he's gone in January really bad. Like he should never wear a Spurs shirt ever again. And
unless it's in his living room watching the Spurs.
Exactly, yeah. Selling fish and chips from a car outside or something. He should absolutely never, ever, ever play on the pitch.
Yeah.
In terms of players tonight who may be like maybe not Deadwood, you think, or maybe just who are there any players tonight you feel like maybe who, if they are part of the first team, who are filling in replacing first team, could do a better job as opposed to are just Deadwood, like the likes of Winks and DELE? Who do you think tonight goes into that category?
I think that if we were to play the team that we played against Newcastle, against West Ham, but you replaced Nombelli for Lo Celso, I think that Lo Celso could do this. I mean, he's not the same kind of player, but he could do a good job. If you had Tanganga coming in for Emerson, I still think that he would be okay. So there, and Brian Hill, I think Brian Hill was very good tonight. He's just playing with a bunch of people who weren't putting in the same effort that he was. So there are players in there that I'm like, yeah, even Sanchez. I still think that, here's the thing, the team that did so well for us in the 18-19 season, when we got to a Champions League final, Sanchez was playing in a 3 in the middle of Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. Now, we don't have those two players anymore, but we do have Christian Romero, who looks shit hot as far as I'm concerned, and will only get better because he's so young. All we have to do is get someone out on the left, because Dyer's not going to cut it. I don't think Roden is that at the level that we'd want him to be. We bring in another centre back that can play on the left. That's amazing. And then you've got the same situation we had in that Champions League run that we did so well in. I don't understand why people are so afraid of going into a 3.
I don't understand why a 3 at the back is seen as so defensive. Like Chelsea play a 3 at the back, no one says they're defensive. You know what
Germany
I mean?
play a 3 at the back at times. Like,
it doesn't have to be defensive. It depends how you play it, but it doesn't have to be defensive. 100%, I agree with that.
If you play 3 at the back, you've got an extra player going forward, really, because you haven't got a 4 at the back. You've got a 3. I mean, you've got realistically, you've got more options for your attacking players too.
I used to do it on FIFA when I wanted to go more attacking. I'll go with 3 at the back.
We do it at FIFA,
and we do it at FIFA now.
Yeah.
To be more attacking, not to be less. So, obviously, it can be defensive, but it doesn't have to be. A quick one from Crocodox. He's got a super chat for you, Adam. Asking you a question. He says, putting Lo Celso as a number 10 and DELE as a striker leaves Winks as a sole DM. That's suicide if we are just using our reserve team. Is that who would you put alongside Winks as in midfield then? If you're going to put Lo Celso in a 10 and DELE up front.
Well, as I say, at the very least, I would have still, I wouldn't have played none of our first team players. So regardless, like whether it was Højbjerg or Skip,
you would have brought one of them in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like unless I was literally, the thing is, Nuno could have been told by management, by Levy and whoever, we don't care about this competition. You're not bringing any of the players for West Ham. We absolutely want top 4. So West Ham is the priority. So any player that putting against West Ham, do not bring with you on that plane. And if that is the case, then you had no choice. You've got to play a Winks. Yeah, I don't know what you said his name was, but if he's saying it's suicide, fine. It's then, they've given up the game anyway. So what difference does it make? At the very least, we'd have had better scoring opportunities with both of those players, Lo Celso playing in the cam and DELE playing as a striker.
So you think, let's say the board didn't interfere in Nuno's selection, you think it was a mistake in general not taking any of the first team players? Do you think they should have been there in reserve just in case?
That's the thing, though. It really depends on, like, do you want trophies or do you want top 4? For me, at this point, I'm happy. Sorry, I'm happy to wait for the rebuild to get us into top 4 territory. I'd love to see another trophy. I know, like, a lot of people are just like, they do not care about this trophy. It's a nothing burger. So it really depends, like if we care about bringing some silverware home, this is the one that we can definitely do if we put, you know, if we put our effort into it. But I think that it's just a case that they were like, no, we've no interest in lowering our odds of ending up in higher positions in other competitions to go for this trophy. It seems that way at this moment in time.
Yeah, I bet you probably get more money for reaching the Champions League qualifying than you do for winning this Conference League, I would assume. So that's why I reckon that's where the board's priorities, I assume, are.
Yeah, probably. And so the thing is, it could have been, if they may not have assumed that we were going to lose this game 1-0. They might have thought, even with this team, we'll put in a decent performance, and it's a shop window situation. I mean, like if it is a case of you know, DELE and Winks and a few others getting sold so that we can make room for players that we all really want to see come to Spurs, you know, then that might have been on their mind. But after a performance like that, they shot themselves in the foot if that's what they were thinking, because who's going to want any of those players giving that kind of a performance? Yeah,
that's the thing. And those kind of players, they need to be in a settled team. They need to be showing off what they can do in a proper settled team rather than in a proper disjointed, cobbled together team where it's hard to really get any cohesion. And then you're made to look worse. Obviously, there's no excuse for playing terribly, but it does exacerbate it, doesn't it? When the team you don't know how the team haven't played it together a lot. And as you said before, and also I just feel like the makeup of the team was just always terrible. Like you got, as I said before, you got two fullbacks who are very average on the ball. Like they're not able to keep the ball very well. So you can't really get the ball out wide. You've got three midfielders in the centre who aren't very good at retrieving the ball or making tackles. Regardless of whether in the Premier League or what kind of competition, they've never been that kind of player where they're always going to make tackles or whatever. So it was always going to be difficult to get the ball back on Vitesse. And then you've got a striker up front who's a teenager and he's got no focal point. So all that put together, it's like very difficult to get that team gelling.
How often did we knock on the door at all? Like really, the only time
we hit the bar, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Hill hitting the bar was the best thing that we did all evening, and he is showing his quality. I think he was playing with a bunch of people that he's not getting enough time with. They're not getting enough time with each other, and you know, what harm would it have done? What harm would it have done to have Tanganga, Sanchez, and Rodon playing as a three? Having an extra player going forward, and you know, surely we would have had more creative options than what we had tonight with, you know, playing with our formation.
All right,
I'll argue this
Go on.
until the cows come home. our best formation will be a three at the back. Nobody can tell me that I'm wrong until we try it. And considering that's the team that got to a Champions League final for the first time ever, was a three at the back. So,
well, Nuno did play a three at the back at Wolves, so you never know. You never know.
I think we will see it at some point. I do think we will.
If it keeps going, well, I think as long as the first team are doing well, I don't think we will.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long. Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts for. But Adam, we'll see you soon, my friend, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me again, lads. Come on, you Spurs.